This is Sherita with Beverly Hills to Barnyard. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And that's the men also. I know so often you are forgotten. You are listening to the WCEG network on WCEGtalkradio.com or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, and the WCEG network. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like WCEG on Facebook, follow on Twitter or Instagram at WCEG underscore talk underscore radio, excuse me, or at WCEG network. Last but not least, the topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not the WCEG network. Thank you so much for your continued support. And now for my love guru on this special Valentine's Day. Dr. Brenda Wade is an entrepreneur, psychologist, author, national media and television personality, relationship expert, and speaker with a science-based approach to elevating relationships, both personal and professional. As the founder of the Modern Love and Relationship Training Programs, she has facilitated international retreats for singles and couples in beautiful locations all over the world. She has been featured on Dr. Oz, Good Morning America, The Today Show, several PBS programming shows, and countless other talk shows and news stations and media specials, while also being featured in Cosmopolitan, Essence, and Women's Health magazines, and so much more. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring you on to this love guru, Dr. Brenda Wade. How are you, my dear?
Oh, Sherita, thank you. That's the most live, exciting intro I think I've ever had.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy that you could be on with us today because when I was thinking about today's show, I'm like, okay, who can talk to us about love?
Oh,
So, how did you get into being a coach and an expert with relationships?
you know, like everybody else who goes into something that they love, I failed so badly at love. And I'm
Mm,
like, wait a minute. I have a PhD in psychology. I am a trained scientist. I love everything about spirituality. There has to be a path forward using all these things that I have training and affinity with so that others do not have to go through the pain. Because I am telling you, there is no pain like divorce. It
yeah,
just about took me out. And
yeah.
I realized there has to be a solution. So I've spent probably the last Sharita, I would say 25 to 30 years. My entire career has been devoted to discovering what it is. You know, we fall in love, and love is just this ignition and it brings us alive. And it's what we're here to be, do, and have as human beings. Hu means light, man means being. So we're light beings. And what
Mm,
lights us up more than love? So
yeah.
the science of it is really important to me. And I checked some numbers, knowing that you and I were going to be talking today. And it turns out that about 6 million people are going to be getting married on
Wow.
Valentine's Day. And out of that 6 million, only 50% are going to make it.
Wow.
That is an unacceptable number. It's unacceptable. So my motto all these years has been learn better, love better. Learn better, love better. Because look, when do you get that class in school on how to have a successful marriage?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're saying that because we have in our mind this whole exciting thing about falling in love, but
That's
no
right.
one teaches us about how to maintain love, how
Thank
to,
you.
so that's really important.
Thank you. And the most important thing we do in life is create family, create love, be in a love relationship that over time evolves so you can grow,
Right.
you can become more of your true self. Now, 6 million people getting married, 3 million of which are going to get divorced.
Hmm.
We can't go there. We can't do it. There are solutions. So everything I do, everything I talk about, every book I've written, every show I've hosted has been about love. The very first national TV show I hosted was called Can This Marriage Be Saved?
Mm.
And one of the things, we had experts from everywhere as guests on the show, and we had a couple. And what I discovered just working with all the folks on that show, and this is why I ended up writing books on love, is that if we just, and I have a four-legged friend who insists on being part of what we're doing. So if you see a tail go by or ears, I've got my little friend who just had
Yeah, that's okay. That's
the
okay.
furry friends. And they teach us how to love too, because their love is
Absolutely.
unconditional. So
Yeah.
how do we get to be like the furry friends? That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so go ahead, dear.
I one of the things that I put out there on Facebook about you coming is I asked the question to my friends, are you involved or married and want to keep the relationship alive? How do people do that when a
Mhm.
relationship is no longer new?
Ah, the analogy I use is, do you have a garden? Do you have a house plant? Do you have anything that you have to water, that you have to have sunshine on, that you have to sometimes put the fertilizer in for it to grow and bloom? It's a
Right.
simple analogy, but for goodness sake, that's what it means to be in a love relationship. Most
Hmm.
people, this is what I hear because I work with couples all day, every day, and with singles. I hear people say, well, when we got together, it was like this. Now it's like this. Meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you watered it? Have you poured that water of upliftment, that water of, hey, let's take some classes together, let's grow? When
Right.
I'm working with couples, I tell them every single year, you must go on a couples retreat. Why?
Hmm.
Because that's where you get the big reboot.
Hmm.
Every single month, you must do a hit refresh.
Right.
And every single day, I'm a big believer in things like old-fashioned things like prayer. You get on your knees, you have prayer. If you don't like prayer, that's okay. Read something inspiring to one another. I have people who are agnostic, who are atheists. Find something that lifts you up and lifts your view of life. We
Right.
have to pay attention. We have to cultivate the number one cause of divorce
Uh-oh.
is people say, I lost that loving feeling, or
Yeah.
it fizzled, or
Right.
the sex isn't good anymore. Why not? It's because you are not doing the work.
You stop
All
putting in
this
the
work, you
work.
got to do this, roll up those sleeves,
Right. Right.
get in
It's like,
there,
you
do
know,
the
it's like anything else that even from my animals here on the farm to, like you said, plants.
work.
We will maintain everything else, even our cars. I recently
Oh,
I showed
ouch.
where I was pouring
Oh,
oil into
Sherita.
my car, and I it also needed something extra. It needed transmission fluid because
Yes.
I hadn't checked it for a moment. If we do not continuously maintain anything, it's going
Mhm.
to falter. Even
Oh,
friendships, our friendships with our girlfriends,
that's right.
or
That's
our
right.
neighbors, if we don't maintain that, but we think that when we get in a relationship that it's going to be self-sufficient, and
Right.
that's not true.
Self-sufficient and self-sustaining. Thank you
Right.
for using the car analogy. That was a big ouch. Put some
Oh,
oil
oh
in.
God. Now, what about, with it being Valentine's Day, what about those that they're single, but they wish they weren't? And then today it's glaring at them and bothering them that they're single. What about
If
other
you are
people?
single and you desire love, I have a formula. I've been teaching this formula for years, Sharita. You know what it starts with? Fall in love with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are looking out here to be filled up by what's out there. We
Right.
fill up from the inside out.
Yes.
Nothing is juicier, sexier, more attractive than someone who's been filling themselves up. They're not coming into a relationship looking for somebody else to fill them up and make them feel good. No,
Right.
you every day you cultivate yourself. Meditation, prayer, reading something inspiring and uplifting. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
do anything except take a walk outside and just breathe in the beauty of
Mm.
nature, we have to inhale in order to keep breathing. And the breath of love is to inhale all the things that are beautiful about you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the most harm, the most harm that we do to ourselves, especially if you're in a female body, is to look in the mirror and go, we tear ourselves down. And then
Yeah.
we go out and expect somebody else to find us desirable and lovable when we don't find ourselves desirable, lovable. So this is my formula. Start with falling in love with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Start with cultivating yourself. Don't
Mm-hmm.
look outside to be filled up. Fill yourself up because then you're juicy, you're ready. Love is easy. You magnetize it because you are carrying the love. Love
Right.
does not carry us.
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
not carry us. We must carry the love. And okay, I gotta say it. This is my pet peeve. I have to say it. People who go looking for love but are not ready. If you have not studied the language, how can you go speak French or Spanish or
Mm-hmm.
Italian or any other language if you haven't studied it? Study the language of love. A, fall in
Mm-hmm.
love with yourself. B, learn to speak the language of love to others. Lift other people up, but lift yourself up first, or you've got nothing to
Mm.
nothing.
Right. Right. Well, what about for those individuals that um, recently have broken up with someone and now they're just so uncertain about tomorrow? They're like, where do I go? And
Yeah,
what are those?
don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. That's my first piece of advice. And I was a scientist before I became a clinician. The science of love is real science, and
Mhm.
it starts again with cultivating yourself. If you have a breakup, sit back, lick your wounds, and then ask the question, what
Right.
in me? What in me needs growth, needs cultivation? What in
Right.
me have I not learned about yet? What in me is my block? Now, every one of us, I haven't met the person yet who does not have a love block. Somewhere in our childhood, somewhere in our teen years, somewhere in our young adult years, we got what everybody gets. We all get something
Mm.
that is painful, whether it's you lost the race, or you failed the class, or you fell down and got hurt, or something bad happened.
Uh-huh.
For me, I had this horrible experience of a teacher falsely accusing me and telling the principal that I stole $20 out of her purse.
Wow.
I was 7 years old. I didn't know what a $20 bill was, but I was in a school where I was the only Black girl, and
Uh,
she accused me. And unfortunately, my father said, even though my mother proved I hadn't done it, my father said, you disgraced my name by being accused. Do you know how wounded that little 7-year-old
oh my
girl was?
gosh. Could
This
still feel
little
that
innocent girl.
today.
So to this day, you see, I hold that up and I say, this is one of my lessons. This is one of the things I had to confront in order to develop self-love.
Mm.
Every one of us. Now, if you've never had something painful happen to you, I'd like to meet you,
Yeah, no
because we
kidding.
all have something. And when we have the wound is a place where we can awaken. It's not to just, let it fester, keep going over and over and over. So what I'm saying is your first love lesson is to look inside and say, what in me needs healing, needs cultivation, needs to grow, and above all, how do I turn that into more self-love? So I've been
Mm.
loving on that little 7-year-old girl. You're innocent, you're
Yeah.
lovable,
Yeah.
you told the truth, and you will always speak the truth. So do that little bit of work. But there's one other thing, Sherita. When we do the inner work, it has a purpose. And I believe we are made up of body, emotions, mind, spirit. I call it the 4Q approach, the 4 quadrants. Tend to each one of those quadrants. Am I taking care of my body? Mhm. I don't know. Am I
Hmm.
taking care of my emotional life? It
Right,
needs tending, just like the garden. And that
right,
means pouring love, pouring affirmation, taking classes, training. If you just sit there and think somehow magically you're going to be ready for love without doing work, it doesn't work. You have to cultivate your
right.
mind. If your mind is filled with negative thoughts, negative ideas, you're hating on other people, who do they think they are? Look at them. None of that will work.
Yeah,
And the final thing is whatever your version of spirituality is, embrace it. I've been all over the world studying meditation. I've studied affirmation. I've studied the way that the mind can align with spirit. There are so many ways. You choose your own path.
yeah, yeah.
Please do the work, because if you think you're going to create a great love life and you haven't done the work, mm-mm,
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Well, speaking of, like I recently, well, it's been a year since I
mhm,
divorced,
mhm,
and we were married a short time, less than 5 years. But I kept getting people calling me saying, "Sherita, are you okay? Are you really okay?"
mhm.
And I was amazed at how okay I was. But like you said, when you're doing the things that you love, when you are working on yourself, I use it like comparing it to car shocks. When you're doing the things that you love and you've been working on yourself, you've got those shocks, so it makes those bumps a little bit easier.
Yes.
So much
Yeah.
so that I even prayed for him. I said, let him be happy. Just because we didn't work, you
Yeah.
know, that doesn't mean that either of us just was wrong.
Right.
It
And
just
in
wasn't,
this
you
situation,
know?
my dear friend, I'm going to give you one up level.
Uh-huh.
Ask yourself, I had to ask myself, I've been through divorce too. This is what made me an expert.
Uh-huh.
We always have to ask ourselves, what in me needs more cultivation? How do
Right.
I become a better version of myself? What
Right.
is it I didn't understand that led to the breakdown, the breakup, the divorce? What in me? And it's not like I'm blaming myself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, how can I learn and grow from this?
Right.
Something
Right.
in me. There's a bigger, better version of Brenda in here. And I
Yeah.
want to bring that to light. And I'm in the best relationship of my life because I've been doing the work. And
Well,
I
I'm
want you
hoping
to
for
do
that
the
one
work
day.
too.
I'm hoping for that one day, but maybe not soon
But
because
sweetheart,
every
you know
time.
what? Now I'm going to just because I love you, I'm going to say this. Hope isn't enough.
Well, the thing is
The
that right
commitment,
now I'm
but
not ready.
no, I understand, but I'm saying while you're getting ready, while we're getting ready for love, and we
Yeah.
want the love that's here, not here, it's a constant process of learning,
Yeah.
growing, meditating, praying, reading, taking classes. This is why I created my Love Academy,
Hmm.
because I got tired of people coming to me, as a private practitioner and saying, well, but we just broke up, or oh, we're getting divorced. And I'm like, did you do any studies? I'm circling back again. And I'm
Yeah.
not blaming anybody because I've been in the boat.
Right.
What
Right.
makes me an expert is I've been through it. And I made a commitment that
Yeah.
nobody else will have to go through it if they're willing to do the curriculum. And by the way, speaking of curriculum, Srita, any one of your listeners or viewers who
Yeah.
wants a gift, this is a gift from
Oh,
me.
yes. Yes.
Join me for one of my love trainings. Just hit me back, love@docwade.com.
Say it again. Say it
Love,
slowly. Say it slowly.
love, Love, at Doc Wade, DOCWADE.com.
And that's
I will
at the
send you,
AP, not
that's
the. Okay.
Jefferson, yeah.
Love.
And I will
Okay.
send you a link to
Okay.
join one of our love trainings. Because if you don't learn better, you can't love better. It's
Right.
like everything else. You got to learn. You used your car analogy, Sharita. You got to learn how to drive that car, right? How to
Mhm.
work the brakes, how to hit
Right.
the accelerator, how to put some oil in it.
Yes. Yes. Well, so first of all, it blows my mind. I knew that there was a lot being spent as far as Valentine's Day, but oh my God, I was looking at where'd it go? I was looking at some statistics on that or the revenue, and it's crazy the amount of money in 2022, 23.9 billion was spent for
Wow.
Valentine's Day.
Wow, that's amazing. But what does that tell us? It tells us how important love is, that we
Yeah.
invest in it like that. And all I would like people to do is take a teeny bit of that 3.9 billion and spend it on learning how to love better.
How to love. Yes, yes. Well, you know what's crazy, and I go back to myself. A lot of times too, like I always say, we're layers. And when my ex-husband met me, I was speaking on stage and in pumps. And now I am totally immersed in dirt and cowboy boots and a hat. He didn't know that side of me. And so the thing is that we have to also realize that we're learning each other as we go. Some
That's
things are
right.
acceptable and you can deal with, and some things you can't.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
one of the things that I love about what you're saying is when you're constantly working on yourself, um, and you're learning yourself, but also be the best you can be in whatever relationship that you're in. And then if it doesn't work, stop blaming yourself.
Yes.
Stop just
Yes.
when you've been the best that you can be, you
Yeah.
know, and you
There's
know
that,
that,
but there's also,
and you've had all that great communication
yes.
or tried, you know.
Yes.
So go
Also,
ahead,
see,
doctor.
I believe couples who fall in love need premarital training and coaching
Hmm.
because
You
it's a
do
big
that.
step. And then you keep, I said it earlier, I hate to sound like a broken record. You keep renewing, you keep renewing, you keep renewing because
So
that's the
Dr. Wade,
secret.
do you provide that kind of counseling premarital?
Absolutely.
Oh,
It
good. Oh,
is
good.
essential. Premarital coaching, premarital classes. I have premarital retreats. I do all of it. And I come to it, guys, with full humility and disclosure because I didn't know to do that when I got married.
Right,
I didn't know.
right.
I fell in love. We have two beautiful children. And I'm just completely in my mind, this is it. No, 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 no. That's just
So
the
now
beginning.
again, how can someone reach you? Do they go to that same website to reach you as far as
Just go straight to my email,
okay.
love@docwade.com. We connect up. We're actually redoing our website right now. So you're not going to find it up there. It'll be up probably in 24 hours. But
Okay.
what's important is if you want to love better, then commit yourself to learning. It's
Hmm.
like learning to drive a car. It's
Hmm.
like learning to brush your teeth. We have to do it on a regular basis. And keep expanding our capacity to give love, but even more important, capacity to receive. Most
Receipt.
of us think we're good receivers. Most of us are not good love receivers because
Okay.
we've got our own blocks, we've got our own wounds, we've got our own scars. And without meaning to, without knowing we're doing it, we're
Hmm.
blocking love.
Hmm.
You know, I worked with one couple, Sherita. This, I think, illustrates the point. He would make gestures bringing flowers, doing, sweet little things.
Hmm.
And she would say, well, that's nice, but
Hmm.
instead of thank you so much, you're showing your love. How would you like me to show mine? Because
Hmm.
we don't ask enough questions when we get in relationships.
Right.
What makes you happy? What turns you on? People don't even know about their own sexuality and
That's
how to explore that in a relationship. We get into all that, by the way.
right.
It is really important to take a minute and say, am I ready for love? Do I
Yeah.
know the steps to love? Have
Hmm.
I actually trained and learned and grown and cultivated me so
Hmm.
I can love and be loved?
Yes.
Okay,
And
I
communicate, I
could go
mean,
on and
with
on.
anything, communication is so vital. Just like for myself, I've always communicated. I'd rather not get chocolates. I'd rather not get flowers. If you want to give me a plant, I love a plant that's going to live on that I can always look and see your love. But more importantly, I love just going on a picnic or you
Yeah.
know, let's go
Yes.
and eat the night before, or let's do something at midnight. So when I saw that 23 billion, because I'm not as much someone that likes to receive the gift kinds of things,
Hmm.
but again, it's about communication.
Yeah.
And don't wait until something is given to you to say, that's it, or I don't like
Right.
that.
Oh,
So
Sharita,
yeah,
what you're
Dr.
saying
Wade.
is so important. You're saying give the cheat sheet up front.
Yes,
If you
yes.
want to win with me, here are the things that will absolutely be the winning ticket. most people don't communicate. They sort of sit back and wait for you to figure it out.
Right,
And then
right.
when you
Or
don't
say I
figure it
don't want
out,
anything, but really want something, and then you're upset when it doesn't happen.
exactly.
Now, Dr. Wade, tell me this. What about those couples that like when they first get together and they are just like so in love without looking at that person? How can you coach someone to slow down and start learning that
You know,
individual?
it's even before that, Sherita. The step before that is, who am I? Am I ready for love? Have I cultivated me? Have I learned to ask for what I really need and want? And
Okay.
have I learned, this is a hard one, what kind of person is actually my match? Most people look at the outside. Ooh, you look good. You're sexy. Oh, you've
Mhm.
got a good job or something. That's an external criteria. What's
Right,
more important is, who am I on the inside, so that I know what kind of person isn't my match. They don't need to be just like me. In fact, it's better if they're not just like you,
right,
because they
right.
can grow more. But you need to answer the critical question. What kind of person am I looking for? Now, my number one criteria is somebody who is willing to keep growing and learning and making a difference in the world, a positive difference. That's my sweet spot.
Where can they get your books? First, give us
I
the
thought you were going to
title.
say, where can they get the sweet spot?
Because you have a few books. Where can they find your books?
Let's see. That's a really good question, because probably Amazon. Um, they'll find, I've got 4 books out there, and What Mama Couldn't Tell Us About Love is probably available.
The
Um,
title.
yeah, right. And it's we've got all the, okay, so some of the books you can order directly through me.
Uh-huh.
And forgive me for stumbling about where the book is, because they're all in different stages right now.
Okay, okay.
So, and a brand new book is about to be born. So
So
we
if they just even Google Dr. Brenda Wade, author or books, they're going to pop up anyway.
They should, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
absolutely. And most importantly, I want people to know I really mean it when I'm giving this gift of a love training. I do one every month.
Okay,
Jump in, just sign up. I'll sign you up. Just say Sherita sent me. Just put your name in there, so I
okay.
know it's from you, and they will get the free training.
And where do they
All
go?
I ask,
Where
all
do
I
they go to
ask
get
is that they
that?
go spread the word. I'm
And where
sorry.
do they go to connect to the free training?
Just send a note, love@docwade.com. Send
Love
a
at
note
Doc
and say, I'm
DOC.
DOCWADE.com.
Love at Doc Wade.
Docwade.com. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
I'll make sure all of Sharita's people are going to get this. It's a gift from Sherita.
outstanding, outstanding. Now, you know, another thing that I'm not sure if your books delve into our inner child, but Dr. Wade, I read a book years ago called My Inner Child of the Past. And the
Mm-hmm.
way it started out, when it said, when two people are laying in bed together, it's really four people there. It's the adult you and the child you.
Yes.
And that book was just so eye-opening for me. Um, if I were to start, because I don't, and I apologize, I haven't gone and gotten any of your books, but I will. What book can I read that would help me most with the self-love that you are speaking of?
I love it that you read that book, because that inner child is at the controls of our lives. And
Mm,
most of us aren't clocking. We have had trauma. I talked about that trauma I went through with the teacher falsely accusing me and me getting punished, even though I was innocent.
mm,
We all have scars, we all have wounds, and we all have patterns. By the time you are 7 years old, those patterns are already in the brain. By the
absolutely.
time you're 12, they're locked into the brain. So that means a 7-year-old is running your love life. Now, that's not good. So we
Well,
have to go back in and ask, what did I learn about love? What did I come to believe about love? Where did I learn it? Who taught me that? And is it working for me? The answer
wow,
is no, because a 7-year-old should not be running your life.
I got to call time. Dr. Wade, we're going to have you back. We're going
Thank
to have a
you.
follow-up special to this Valentine's Day special because we're down to 15 seconds. So
Wow.
again,
Thank
give
you,
your web
Sharita, so much. And thank you to all of your listeners.
what is your email again?
It's love at docwade.com.
Dr. Wade, thank you so much. I
My
love
pleasure. Bless you.
going on. And to my listeners, thank you for tuning in to the amazing Dr. Brenda Wade. This is Sherita Herring on Beverly Hills to Barnyard. Stay tuned for part 2 with this amazing love guru. Happy Valentine's Day. Have an amazing love